Most agencies don't fail because they can't generate leads. They struggle because they can't turn those leads into book calls. You see, I worked with a cleaning business that had this exact problem. They were running ads, getting people to request quotes, but when we looked at the numbers, hardly anyone was showing up on their calendar. The bottleneck wasn't leads. It was getting those leads to book and actually show up. And this is where I highly recommend Alex Hormozi's $100 million frameworks, his books that he's laid out in offers, leads, and now the record-breaking money models. When you take those frameworks, you can plug them directly into HighLevel's platform. And so together, they turn nurturing from hit or miss into a repeatable system that multiplies conversions 100-fold. Now, before we dive deeper, hit like and subscribe right now. Each week, we share strategies and systems like this to help you build smarter, faster, and more predictable growth with HighLevel. Most business owners believe more leads equal more sales, but the cleaning business I mentioned proved to be the opposite. They had plenty of leads, but most went nowhere. HighLevel made the gap visible, a pipeline full of contacts at the top, but almost no book calls in the middle. In $100 million leads, this is called the choke point. More leads won't fix it, but better nurturing will. So inside HighLevel, we would want to create an automation that fixes this lead to book call issue. It is something that would solve this bottleneck. For the cleaning business, we built their automation around 3 specific levers. The first one is maximizing value, making the offer irresistible. The second is increasing follow-up intensity. You see, that way we could send it via multiple channels. For example, sending it to their email, sending an SMS text, and making sure that we're consistent in our cadence. And then third, improving show-up rates. That way we could send reminders that stack to reduce the flakes that we're trying to schedule, but we're simply no-shows. So we wanted to send multiple reminders. The result, speed plus certainty. And as Hormozi puts it, speed creates trust. So how can we then apply the $100 million framework to HighLevel? Well, the first thing that we want to do is we want to understand the value equation. Well, what is the value equation? The value equation is important because it helps us to really understand when we're trying to provide real value to our customers. When we look at it, value is equal to the dream outcome times the perceived likelihood of achievement, or said another way, the likelihood of success, divided by time delay times the effort of sacrifice. Now, what does this all mean? Well, the value equation really has 4 levers. Increase the top and decrease the bottom. That's the goal. You see the dream outcome and perceived likelihood on top with the time delay and effort and sacrifice on the bottom. Now, why it's a division equation is because if you drive the bottom towards 0, you get instant result with very little work. And so value approaches infinity. That's the North Star. Anything divided by 0 feels priceless. So perception is reality. It's not what you do, it's what the buyer believes you do. A simple change that reduces perceived weight or pain can beat expensive real improvements. People pay for certainty. So 2 identical services can command wildly different prices based on the perceived likelihood of success. For example, think first-time surgeon versus someone who's done 10,000 procedures. In plain English, make the dream bigger and more certain. Make the weight and the work feel smaller. So, what does that mean? When we look at these 4 levers, the dream outcome, it's how big or valuable the result feels to the client. Bigger dream equals more value. Now, with the perceived likelihood of achievement, that is how sure they'll feel that they can actually get the result with you. And so when we take in the time delay, it's how long they think it'll take to win. Whereas when you take the effort and sacrifice component, it's how hard it feels to get there. So those you want to decrease. So how can you do that? Well, you can sharpen the promise, make the outcomes more specific and more meaningful, stack the proof, include more case studies, quantify results in order to boost certainty. And then on the bottom side, shorten the time to first win. You see quick starts done for you, instant setup. These are things that shorten that time for the client, and time is money. And when you look at the effort and sacrifice, try to remove as many steps, tools, and decisions from that they have to make. Do more for them. And so for the cleaning company, HighLevel crushed the denominator. The time delay shrank with instant SMS follow-ups. The effort dropped with one-click booking. The sacrifice reduced with testimonials right on the page. And so suddenly the offer felt faster, easier, and more certain. In his books, Hormozi outlines 100 actions for 100 days, which means that consistency compounds. And when you look at HighLevel, this translates to multiple automated touches daily. For the cleaning business, what used to be 1 to 2 follow-ups became dozens of micro touch points happening automatically, especially when it came to reminders for bookings. Now, when you break that down, for the cleaning business, you start doing follow-up math. And the cleaning business used to stop after one call. Now with HighLevel, we built a sequence. First text, then email, then a voicemail, even missed call texts. Leads who would have been written off started to then book. And so what was the net result? Well, the biggest leak were no-shows. Those started going away. You see, for the cleaning business, we stacked the reminders so often, 24 hours, the morning of, 1 hour before. Suddenly, jobs weren't falling through the cracks. And if someone actually didn't show up, HighLevel triggered a recovery sequence automatically, trying to get that lead rebooked and giving them reminders to encourage them to rebook. Now, the real magic wasn't just the first job. See, with HighLevel handling all the nurturing, every client was guided into repeat services, review requests, and referral offers. That cleaning company went from chasing the next job to having a steady stream of recurring work, all because of nurturing. So here's what we set up for them. We set up a landing page with an embedded calendar. And on that same page, we included testimonials. We then, after they filled out their calendar invite, we sent them a thank you page with a short what to expect next video. From there, we created workflows that fired instantly, reducing the time that it took for that person to receive a next touch point. And as we focused on multiple channels, we made sure that they knew exactly what to do as far as the next steps. So we were setting the proper expectations with them, as well as also sending reminders over at the cleaning company. Now, after the job was done, we didn't stop there. We also created post-sale automation, which automated all the review requests and referrals, and even handled all the replies to reviews that were put on, for example, on Google reviews. So we would handle all the reviews and answering them all using AI to do so. And so the system didn't just look good on paper, it filled their calendar in real life. So when you look at the flow and what actually is happening then, the lead opts in. HighLevel then fires an instant text message. If they book a call, a reminder stack continues to remind them until they show up. Now, if they chose not to book a call, then we go through an ACA loop. First, we acknowledge that they went to the page. Then we compliment them, and then we ask them if they want to go ahead and book a call. Now, if they decided to not show up to a call for whatever reason, a recovery sequence would then kick off on another channel. So we'd send them an SMS as well as email reminders to try to encourage them and nudge them to rebook. And this wouldn't be right away. Again, we're dealing with humans. So, it would happen. Maybe there was one that would go out right away. Then the next day, it'd be almost like a reminder. And then after that, after 3 days, we send them another note. And then a week later, We just, would check in on them to see if they still have a need. So those are the types of things that we would do. Now, if they actually attended the call, from there, we would then do an offer and upsell for additional services. We'd add them to a nurture list so that we can send them reminders for their next service after it's all said and done. So what's the result? Simple, predictable, repeatable. And so that's the goal when it comes to nurturing. So for teaching clarity, here's how the frameworks looked in practice for the cleaning business. First, when you look at the value equation, they started off with a bad landing page to a different landing page that was significantly much better. It made the outcome clear and showed proof of that. So trying to reduce any resistance. Then from there, instead of 2 touches that they had before, we would do 7 touches. And so as such, that led to double the amount of bookings that they previously had. Now, when it comes to the rule of 100, automation's handling daily consistency that the owner simply just couldn't keep up. So that helped to do all the nurturing while the owner focused on the business. And because of that, they were able to cut their no-shows in half. And that's a really good economic plan. Instead of wasting time, instead people actually showed up. And with that, offers were delivered and people bought into their services. Then when you look at afterwards, continuity became a big concern. So from there, they were getting reviews, but they weren't actually responding to it. That's no longer the case. So now every review that gets submitted gets responded to, both positive and negative. And then from there, you can ask for referrals, which created a flywheel effect. Now, these aren't abstract principles. They are levels that you can build out in HighLevel and leverage for your business or for your clients' businesses right away. So to recap, the cleaning business didn't need more leads. They needed a system that moved every lead from interested to booked to show. Now, once we plugged in the $100 million frameworks into HighLevel, that's exactly what happened. You see, their calendar started filling up, their reviews multiplied, and referrals started flowing in. And so this is exactly what we're doing every day inside GHL Money Labs. We're taking powerful frameworks and building them into HighLevel so businesses can scale their book calls, increase their show-up rates, and maximize their client lifetime value. So if you want access to advanced strategies, pre-built systems, as well as a community of people applying these models in real time, click the link below and join us inside GHL Money Labs. Now, before you go, let me ask you this. In your business right now, where do you feel the biggest breakdown is happening? Getting leads to actually book a call or getting book leads to actually show up? Now drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear where you're stuck.